Redemption Road. Characters. Elma Shaw's Redemption Road explores post-war Liberia through deeply human characters whose lives reflect trauma, forgiveness, justice, and healing, revealing the emotional scars and resilience born from war's devastation. 1. Bendu Lewis. Bendu Lewis is the protagonist and central figure in Elma Shaw's Redemption Road. She is a young Liberian woman struggling to recover from the trauma of war and personal loss. Deeply scarred by her experiences at the Juluma camp and the death of her brother Benji, Bendu channels her pain into helping others as co-director of Peace in Practice, PIP, a local NGO that focuses on peacebuilding and rehabilitation of war victims. Throughout the novel, she wrestles with guilt, grief, and the haunting memories of her forced marriage to the rebel soldier Samson and her time under Commander Cobra's brutal regime. Bendu's decision to bring Cobra, now known as Moses Varney, to justice demonstrates her courage and strong sense of morality. Her journey of self-confrontation, including the revelation that she bore and abandoned a daughter during the war, marks her path toward healing and redemption. Her compassion for her grandmother, Granny May, and her empathy toward others such as Tenne and Rosetta further reveal her humanity. Bendu symbolizes resilience, forgiveness, and the long struggle toward inner peace in a society rebuilding from war. 2. Commander Cobra. Commander Cobra, later known as Moses Varney, is the antagonist of the novel. He is a complex figure who personifies the cruelty, corruption, and moral decay of wartime Liberia. During the Civil War, Cobra was a notorious rebel commander responsible for countless atrocities, including murder, rape, and forced marriages. His sadistic behavior, such as killing for pleasure or collecting skulls as trophies, underscores his dehumanization under the influence of war and drugs. After the war, Cobra reinvents himself as Moses Varney, an arms dealer and bribe giver who manipulates Liberia's weak justice system for protection. Despite occasional reflections on justice, he remains corrupt and violent, kidnapping Bendu to silence her. His eventual death, his body found in the St. John River, suggests retribution and the inescapable consequences of evil. Through Moses Varney, Elma Shaw explores how unrepentant war criminals continue to exploit fragile post-war systems while haunted by their past misdeeds. 3. Siatta. Siatta is Bendu's older sister, a light-skinned woman who provides a contrasting perspective to her sister's war-torn experiences. Having lived in America during Liberia's Civil War, Siatta initially lacks empathy for the victims and trivializes their pain. Married to Terrance Clarke, a corrupt government official, she represents the educated elite disconnected from the nation's suffering. However, her character evolves as she witnesses chaos during renewed unrest in Monrovia. Siatta becomes more compassionate and understanding of what survivors endured. Her support for Bendu, including offering her a place to stay after her home is attacked, demonstrates her loyalty as a sister. When she discovers Terrance's role in Bendu's arrest and his unfaithfulness, she bravely confronts him and eventually files for divorce. Siatta's character arc reflects awakening, moral courage, and the growing awareness among privileged Liberians about the depth of wartime trauma. 4. Terrance Clarke. Terrance Clarke is Siatta's husband and Bendu's brother-in-law, representing corruption and moral decay within Liberia's political class. A government official and manipulator, Terrance is deceitful, unfaithful, and involved in shady activities with people like Chief Kesselly and Moses Varney. He secretly orchestrates Bendu's arrest and helps criminals evade justice, showing his moral weakness and lack of conscience. His dishonesty strains his marriage, as Siatta eventually discovers his infidelity and unethical conduct. Terrance's character symbolizes the opportunism and betrayal that persist in post-war governance. He stands as a foil to Bendu's honesty and moral strength, showing the contrast between integrity and corruption in rebuilding Liberia. 5. Calvin J. Daniels. Calvin J. Daniels is a freelance journalist and one of the most admirable male characters in Redemption Road. Tall, grey-haired, and sharp-eyed, Calvin is deeply connected to Bendu through their childhood friendship and shared memories of her late brother, Benji. As a journalist for the World Journal, he brings international attention to Pip's humanitarian work and helps Bendu in her pursuit of justice against Commander Cobra. Calvin's integrity and commitment to justice stem from his own wartime trauma during the 1980 coup. He is courageous and dependable, often protecting Bendu and offering her emotional and practical support. His romantic affection for her is subtle but sincere, seen in his acts of kindness, such as sending flowers and arranging legal aid. Later, after covering the Sierra Leone War Crimes Tribunal, Calvin starts a scholarship fund for war-affected youth, showing his growth and humanity. He represents hope, compassion, and the possibility of moral renewal after war. 6. Granny May Davies. Granny May Davies, Bendu's elderly grandmother, is a symbol of endurance and unconditional love. Frail but wise, she represents the old generation's resilience during Liberia's dark times. Bendu's refusal to abandon her during the war, pushing her to safety in a wheelbarrow, reflects deep family loyalty and compassion. Granny May's quiet presence anchors Bendu emotionally and highlights the strength of familial bonds in times of crisis. 7. Tenner, Rosetta, and Josephine. These three women are survivors of war trauma and clients of Bendu at peace in practice. Tenner, Siatta's cook, suffers from depression and post-traumatic stress, while Rosetta and Josephine are also struggling with their war memories. Through counseling, they find emotional release and a sense of belonging. Their experiences reflect the shared suffering of countless Liberian women and the transformative power of healing and therapy in post-war reconstruction. 8. Judge Dargose. Judge Dargose represents judicial corruption in Liberia. As a judge who accepts bribes from Moses Varney, he demonstrates how weak institutions enable impunity for war criminals. His character is a critique of the compromised justice system that allows oppression to persist even after the war. 9. Ewa Lewis. Ewa Lewis, the mother of Bendu and Siatta, is a loving, light-skinned woman whose family endured the emotional weight of the war. She is a background figure who symbolizes motherhood, tenderness, and the continuity of family values amid destruction. 10. Lieutenant James Tarpeh. Lieutenant Tarpeh represents post-war order and discipline. As a military officer, he embodies the restructured efforts to restore peace and law in Liberia. His presence reflects the nation's attempt to transition from chaos to control. 11. Chief Kesselly. Chief Kesselly, a high-ranking police officer, works closely with Terrance Clarke in shady political deals. His actions expose the collusion between security forces and corrupt politicians. He symbolizes the misuse of authority for personal gain. 12. Samson. Samson is the rebel soldier to whom Bendu is forcibly married during the war. He beats and abuses her under Cobra's orders, making him one of the key figures responsible for her suffering. Samson represents the brutality and gender-based violence inflicted on women during conflict. 13. Baby Girl, Dimusu. Baby Girl, later known as Dimusu, is Bendu's long-lost daughter born during her captivity at Juluma camp. Bendu's eventual reunion with her marks the climax of her emotional healing. Baby Girl represents innocence, forgiveness, and the new generation born out of war's pain yet destined for renewal. 14. Chief. Varney's boss. The chief is a shadowy figure who controls Moses Varney's criminal activities. He embodies the hidden powers that exploit post-war instability for profit. His decision to have Varney confined, and likely killed, shows how expendable even powerful men become in systems built on corruption. Conclusion. Through these characters, Elma Shaw's Redemption Road paints a vivid picture of post-war Liberia, a nation caught between justice and forgiveness, trauma and healing, corruption and renewal. Each character, from Bendu's moral strength to Cobra's decay, reflects a different facet of the struggle to rebuild the human spirit after conflict.